Hello world, Podlair team back. Got my elite crew. We're doing voice training as usual, getting basic concepts of Podlair internalized so that those who go through this program can be teachers themselves. So once you get through level 10, all the basic concepts that we work with are pretty much fielded out. And we break them down into beats, nice little bite-sized nuggets of knowledge. Bite size. I think I'm thinking my food right now after the talk.
Yeah.
Okay. So I am Nyy'xai coach, and with me I have Nyy'xai, Ben, and Glenn, and we are working on Nyy'xai stuff, which also happens to be our unconscious genius. And we'll be doing the continuation of Hidden Grove Gardener, spirit form, and move on from there. All right. So first up, you'll take lead. Well, there's Mitchell.
Oh, hey there, Mitchell.
Hey, Mitchell.
Hey, Mitchell.
The missing thing, we actually were waiting for you. We got to a discussion about veganism.
Okay.
You joined right on time, right?
Sorry about being so late.
No
I
worries.
should have mentioned something. I actually have tennis today now, and I just got back, so I didn't realize that it might conflict with this.
That's cool.
I mean, it really doesn't. I'll just probably be like 10 minutes late every day.
Oh,
if that's okay.
Should we start later then?
I mean, I certainly can start later, but I don't know if you guys can.
Okay, we can maybe talk about changing the day then.
Sure.
Okay, I could actually do it earlier because I mentioned Glenn wanted to do it earlier before.
Yeah, it was given my schedule, so I'm not sure. This week is fine. I mean, obviously I'm here, so there's no issue. But next week I can't be certain what my schedule is going to be. So,
yeah, but if I need to be
a
few minutes late any day, I don't want to make too big of a deal about it. Even if I am behind a little bit, I'm sure I can catch up on a few beats. Not a big deal.
All right.
Sure.
Okay, we'll kind of think about work out more. So, how does the Hidden Grove Gardener protect deep, authentic emotions? What are key features of how the Hidden Grove Gardener applies Nyy'xai that are associated with movement? Ben?
As the name implies, the Hidden Grove Gardener can protect their own and others' deep, authentic emotions by not opening up or using the cleverness of Nyi to obscure and distract. Correspondingly, Nyy'xai are very gifted with their special Nyy'xai at finding the hidden, authentic emotions of others. Mobility is another feature of the Hidden Grove Gardener, able to heal, invigorate, and to flower into states of harmony while adventuring at a fast pace or otherwise being elusive. There is also a quickness and subtlety the Nyy'xai use, allowing them to slip in their emotional needs without notice.
Take your time to process, and then when you're ready. Hola. if you guys have any questions about the content, feel free to ask as well.
It's good to me.
Bring some dinner for us? Okay. That'd be fine. Cool with the cards? I got them all organized by numbers, so it should be pretty straightforward.
Using the Nyy'xai Hingrove Gardener, Nyy'xai can protect the authentic emotions of themselves or others by refraining from using their Nyi cleverness to distract or open up the environment and possibilities. The Nyy'xai is, correspondingly, the Nyy'xai is very good at detecting the hidden authentic emotions in others, and using mobility, they can basically move at a fast pace, flowering and healing the emotions of others as well as themselves when they're adventuring at a fast pace or otherwise being elusive. The Nyy'xai is also very good at essentially slipping in their emotional needs in a way that's very cloaked but also fast.
Good. Had you on mute to spare you from the the blunders Eileen's using. Mitch.
Alright. The Hidden Grove Guardian protects deep, authentic emotions. One way is that it can just not open up at all, or that it can use the cleverness of the Nyi to obscure and distract from the matter at hand. And one key feature of the Hidden Grove Gardener that is associated with movement, which is that it's able to flower and heal and invigorate into states of harmony while adventuring at a fast pace or otherwise being elusive. And then another one is that there's a quickness and subtlety associated with the Nyi flavoring of the Hidden Grove Gardener that lets the Nyy'xai slip in their emotional needs without notice, so that people can't really even see it happening.
Boom. The non-ripple technique. Wow. Len, take us home.
All right. All right, so the Hidden Grove Gardener is, for the Nyy'xai, they're able to use it in a way where they're able to protect the deep, authentic emotions of themselves or other people by what do you call it? They can simply just hold off on what do you call it, making those known. So they'll kind of like just keep those things to themselves. But at the same time, if they find that, conversation might be leading into those topics, they can simply just change the topic with distraction and just being very quick with their knee, because their knee is always very perceptive and it's their first source power, so it's very strongly aware of what's going on and the patterns and the way in which motifs are kind of like taking place, and so they're able to then jump tracks and use that to be able to hold on to sacred values from being breached, I guess you could say. Two key factors of how the Hidden Grove Gardener applies their Zhai that are associated with the movement, or with movement in general, is that they're able to, when adventuring with their friends or just with people that they are very close with and stuff, they're able to keep a very sort of, strong connection and make sure that everyone's their Zhai, their values-based power is being attended to, and so they're able to do that very, very quickly because Nyy'xai are naturally just always on the move, and they're always just taking notice, and they're like, oh, this person needs to be, this person needs a little bit of flowering, they need a little bit of a attention, so then they'll do that, and then they're very good at being able to juggle all those kinds of feelings and emotions. And at the same time, their movement is very much related to them being able to slip in their values in very subtle and very sort of like elusive ways into something without other people noticing, and that's because their knee is very quick and able to do that. So it is a very strong use of Zhai, but it's a Zhai that's being powered mainly by the knee.
Got it. All right, next up, Mitchell, you'll take lead. What are 3 clever and interesting ways the Nyy'xai Hidden Grove Gardener specializes in using Zhai?
The Nyy'xai Hidden Grove Gardener also specializes in using Zhai in a variety of clever and interesting ways. Often there is a use of morality test riddles to see if other people know how to be heroic without being told, or just spicing conversation with little bits of authenticity to see how they're received, evading playfully as need be. Another is using the hopeful signal of Zhai as a form of virtuous luring to get themselves or others to move to a more conducive environment, either physically or metaphysically. Nyy'xai Hidden Grove Gardener can also cross-contextualize customized tokens of blessing that anticipate a person's emotional needs, sometimes becoming a living vessel of blessing to a person or cause using their empathetic and metamorph powers.
Right, so process and sally forth.
Oh, what was that? Process and
Sally
I
forth.
relate to this paragraph so much.
Old Tommy speak for it. Go get it. Point down. Wonder what the origin of that word is. Phrase is.
Nyy'xai. That's a good question. It has something to do with horses.
Oh, go you. Oh, nice. It means to leave a safe place in a brave or confident manner in order to do something difficult. Ooh, no wonder I like to use that phrase.
that last one, Coach, is one that's a little bit tricky for me to get my head around.
Sure.
Creating tokens of blessing.
Mhm.
So,
For example, like little gifts or you say trinkets, but that actually have a special meaning. It's sort of like you know how they collage, they kind of can nest different cool things that have meaning into a greater meaning. They can also take from that pile and give them to people, like special gifts.
and
Have,
that they know is going to be particularly well received by the person that
yeah,
they're giving it to.
it'll be meaningful,
Focus.
make feel, give them a warm fuzzy. It'll definitely like give a sign of goodwill. That's especially meaningful
Like,
to the person.
I see. So sort of like, oh, I know that this person is going to really like if I do this for them, even though, like, it's just sort of like that. You know that they're able to know that that's something that's really something that they're into, and so that's something that they would like, obviously. Kind of like that, right? Yeah.
And also, they can not just find it; they can sort of craft or add a little special love touch to it that shows, like, this is like a connection you and I have through this little token. So when you have this token, you can think of me, and a little of my goodwill towards you is embedded in this token.
All right, so 3 clever, interesting ways Nyy'xai use their Hidden Grove Gardener. um, One of them is using morality test riddles, basically to see whether other people know how to be heroic without being told, and adding interesting, spicy bits of authenticity into the conversation that can be kind of playfully juggled and evaded as needed. Um, Another one is turning on their hopeful signal of Jai very strongly to, as a form of virtuous slurring, basically gets themselves and others to move to a more conducive environment, physically or metaphysically. Last one is that they can cross-contextualize tokens of blessing, which specifically anticipates a person's emotional needs, or they can become a living vessel of blessing to person or cause with their empathic metamorphic abilities.
Boom. Nice. Glenn, you're up next.
All right, let me see if I can do this. All right, so with the Nyy'xai, they're able to use their the Hidden Grove Gardener spirit form. They're able to specialize in using their Jai in 3 different ways, and one of them is by creating test riddles, which force people to basically, well, not force, but they like use it as a way to be able to judge another person's character and how heroic they are by presenting these kinds of ideas forward and then seeing how they take them. They're very good at just being very tricky and slyly doing that, and it's sort of like to just see how people will react and take that and what they will do with that information. And they're also able to use their need to sort of like skip and hop and dance away and evade certain kinds of things if they feel as though that is the right call for them to make. Also, they're able to use their Jai to sort of lure people into doing certain kinds of things by really just cranking up their Jai, the signal of their Jai very strongly. And it's meant to be used in a heroic, virtuous way, and so that it can attract people to heroes to basically move in that kind of direction, either in a physical or a metaphysical manner. And thirdly, they're able to create customized tokens of luck and sort of like empathy that they use to sort of like that they can use to anticipate another person's like reaction, like sort of like if you create they're able to find something that another person would like as a gift and then they know that they might place that in the environment somehow, and then they'll know that that person will eventually find their way to that, or they might present it themselves. You know, they might present it to them directly, or they might just actually just be a vessel themselves of blessing that's constantly just giving this signal of luck and blessing into everyone around them, and just being really very like giving that sort of energy to other people and really making them feel great in that way.
Good. Ben, take it home.
I'll be right back.
Oh no, just so Glenn, I was able to hear you no problem, but I can't see you.
Oh, I'm not sure why that is. Usually when I
Looks like he's just
go,
frozen right now.
What's that?
Looks like this camera image is frozen right now.
Ah. Yeah, I just see it.
I've had some weird things with the camera too, I should say. I took a picture of it once. It was kind of funny. It was like multicolored.
Yeah. I haven't seen it on you. I've seen it on Glenn's a few times where it goes multicolored.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's just my internet connection, I guess.
The audio works anyway. So Ben, when you're ready.
All right. The Nyy'xai can use their Hingro Gardener in a variety of different clever ways. One of which is to effectively use it as, I guess, a sort of like a lure to guide heroes and people that they wish to better, safer place people that Nyy'xai deems worthy or should be more in this direction on their growth trajectory. And perhaps is just more conducive ethically to their story. Another is to be playfully test whether whether a person knows how to be a hero in certain situations, get an idea of how much of a hero they are. And they do this very playfully in a way that's not too intrusive, in a way that actually oftentimes feels very fun. Sometimes it can be in the form of just sprinkling in little bits of authenticity in there to just kind of get a feel for them. And in addition,
What happened?
I think Ben's pondering.
yeah, I'm just thinking. I mean, I know it, but like I know it's there. I just can't get it right now.
Okay, take a quick look again.
So, which is to say that I have it. It's just it could take a ridiculously long time to get it.
No worries. Do it.
So,
Take a quick
yeah, I'll
look.
take another look. Yeah. Sometimes it just doesn't come to you, even though you know you have it.
Yeah.
All right. The Nyy'xai uses the Nyy'xai Hidden Grove Gardener uses their Jai in a variety of different interesting and clever ways. One of which is to through basically doing little emotional tests through casual conversation, generally very playful, just to see whether the person knows how to be a hero in different situations, or just sprinkling in different bits of authenticity to just get a feel for them. And also The Nyy'xai will often do emotional luring to just sort of bring a person more, help bring a person more down the right path, to a path that's more conducive to them, a path that would be better for them, a path that may heal them. The Nyy'xai are very good at that. Also, the Nyy'xai will often craft little tokens that they will anticipate a person would find very beneficial and imbue them with sacred blessings, and that will end up giving them the healing and the magic they need to be better people.
Right. I believe this is the last one. Glenn, you'll take lead.
All right.
How does the Hidden Grove gardener help others create personal motion in their lives? What are two different ways this is often done? How does this relate to the special way Nyy'xai can be advocates for things they care about?
All right, so another aspect of the Hidden Grove gardener is fostering healing, invigoration, and joy by creating personal motion, both physical and metaphysically. This can be the classic dancing away the blues, but also through stimulating conversation and having a wonderful sense of humor. Ironically, the Nyy'xai Hidden Grove gardener also makes an unparalleled cheerleader when it comes to being a proud, empathetic supporter of growth for any reason, idea, or cause that they are personally invested in.
Oh, just so you know, for the updated edition, I took out the phrase ironically because actually it's not ironic.
I don't know, sometimes people just use words.
Well, I also wanted to mention, Coach, it says, I guess in my edition of the book, it says Hidden Grover Gardener a couple times in the last couple paragraphs.
That sounds cool. The Grover.
How you doing, Grover?
So in the first sentence of this one and in the last sentence of the last one, it uses Grover.
Good catch. I noticed that, but didn't call it.
I was going to mention it, but I forgot. Then I saw it again, and I was like, okay.
No, okay, good. And it isn't here. Got it. And was it just two times?
Good. That was only 2 times I saw it.
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe we could put physically and metaphysically. That sounds also a little bit more smoother on the tongue, huh?
Where's that mistake?
That's the very first sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep, got it.
All right.
Boom. Done.
When you use the word personal motion, what does that mean exactly? That's kind of an interesting...
Basically, it's you can think of just sort of like in general terms like peaking when you kind of get stuck. Ni is very good at getting things going, and then with the Zhai, it can be done in an empathetic way to help people kind of get out of a rut.
Right. Or just kind of like creating a little bit of a change. When things get dull or things get stale. Sometimes you need that, right?
Indeed.
Okay.
He's
All
awesome.
right.
In the first sentence, it seems like what's creating the personal motion is the fostering of healing, invigoration, and joy. But it seems to be structured such that it's saying that the personal motion is creating the healing, invigoration, and joy. Is that intentional, or?
That's a good thing. Yeah.
So again,
It seems to be structured such that it's saying that the healing, invigoration, and joy is coming from them creating personal motion, as opposed to them fostering healing, invigoration, and joy is what's causing other way around. That's causing the personal motion.
Yeah. What's coming first and what's coming second?
Well, I think the way you interpret it is the correct way, which is a particular way they can foster healing, invigoration, and joy is by creating personal emotion. One of the
Yeah,
special
that makes sense.
Hidden Grove Gardener is different than, say, other Jai spirit forms. Because all Jai spirit forms would foster healing, invigoration, and joy.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's just like the way they're doing it.
That's their
The
particular.
Just Gatherer versions are more through motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll just go into something and create motion, and then as a result of that, it will then foster those kinds of things, healing, invigoration, and joy. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It seems like just the way it's done, like it's like one thing they're doing, but that's like it's in more of a just gather kind of way.
Exactly.
Also, what
I
is
took it
dance?
originally as like cause and effect, but it's more like they're one thing.
Also, Coach, what is dancing away the blues? Like, what does that mean?
Well,
Like a trope where you.
it's in literally it means that if you're feeling down, you can get someone up and moving around dancing, and they'll release endorphins. It's often used in a more broader sense, but basically, if you can get someone just doing an activity that's fun, the emotion of doing a fun activity can help get away the doldrums, get away the blues.
Oh, okay, so it makes them forget while at the same time changing their environment.
Exactly.
Yeah, that I don't know if that would work for a hunter so much, but yeah.
That works for us.
No,
We need
they're
it.
really good for us, yeah.
Get so fixated because we tend to do is we fixate, gain, fixate, gain, fixate, gain, and then fixate, diminishing returns. Fixate, diminishing returns.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why don't you try just doing something for fun to clear your head? What are you talking about?
Physical exercise is a good one.
It is. It really is.
We're just thinking different thoughts, doing different things, getting out of your rut. Like if you're always just stuck in a certain way of thinking, trying something new and different for the sake of the novelty can be good.
Because doing it just for that reason, that goes against hunters' basic hardwiring. But it's what gatherers really bring to the table.
Yeah, it's important to know you won't necessarily get the answer by just beating on it. Sometimes you need to just sort of like let it go, move away, do something else, come back with it fresh, you know. Okay. All right, so when it comes to the Hidden Grove Gardener, they're able to foster joy and goodwill among the people that they're surrounded with through the act of motion by just sort of like using their knee to just kickstart up some sort of ideas and stuff and getting things going. And then in the process of doing that, they'll create joy, they'll create all kinds of positive moods and energy around them as a result of that, and really make people feel like they're being empathized with and being cared for in that sort of very special Jai way. Two different ways in which this is often done is sort of like they might just, do the whole dancing away the blues. They might just help a person change their environment by getting them to just sort of like, I don't know, either physically or metaphysically, getting them either to move around and just do things differently. That can be really helpful in getting another person to a better sort of inner emotional state. But then they're also very good at just using humor and conversation as a way to instigate those kinds of feelings, and being able to sort of like help people change their environment, and either metaphysically or physically, like they're able to just make people feel differently through that as a result. Overall, the Nyy'xai Hidden Grove Gardener is like a very awesome cheerleader who, whenever they're invested in any sort of cause, person, or idea, they're really able to just you know take it, really be able to just do that very well. They're just able to just become the cheerleader and just become the greatest advocate, the greatest sort of like fan, I guess, of that thing, and really knows how to make that flourish as much as possible, given their energy and given all their powers and how they use them. And Hidden Grove Gardener is definitely a very intrinsic part of the Nyy'xai's overall spirit form pantheon characters that they use in order to do that. Yeah.
Got it. Nice. Ben?
Okay. The Nyy'xai Hidden Grove Gardener can foster healing, invigoration, and joy through personal motion, either physical or metaphysical. This can come in the form of dancing away the blues, or it can also come in the form of casual conversation, such as through the Nyy'xai's wonderful sense of humor. The Nyy'xai can also be Nyy'xai Hidden Grove Gardener can also be an unparalleled cheerleader for the special people and causes that they feel very strongly about.
Got it. Mitchell, take us home.
That's an interesting sound in the background. It's like dun 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 dun.
I'm not sure what that is. I have an AC on, but nothing else.
The one thing that Nyy'xai do with their Hidden Grove Gardener, Hidden Grove Gardener spirit form, is they can foster healing, invigoration, and joy via creating personal motion, both physical and metaphysical, in people's lives, which kind of gets them out of ruts and stuff like that. Two ways this is done. One, you could have just a sort of classic dancing away the blues, but then also besides that, there's just stimulating conversation and use of their wonderful sense of humor. This place is a special way Nyy'xai can be advocates for things they care about because they make for unparalleled cheerleaders when it comes to being proud, empathic supporters of growth in any person, idea, or cause that interests them.
Bam.
They're invested in, I should say.
Got it. All right, nice. We closed that one out. Meaty, but we got her done. All right, these are cool though. These are meaty ones, and I think also they're when we talk to people about their mojo, you get the basic stuff down about how the powers work and what celebrities are there, whatever. But I think the hot topics and definitely the spirit forms are like really extra juicy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now we're moving into the righteous intervener. And as we know from having known some Nyy'xai, quite a few Nyy'xai are very fond of their righteous intervener.
Right.
All right. So it's cool we can explain to them how that works within the overall scope of the P pathway. All right. Ben, you lead us off here. How do Nyy'xai use their Z in general, and how does this relate to the righteous intervener spirit form? How does the source Ni of the Nyy'xai relate to this? How does the tandem Zhai of the Nyy'xai relate to this? What does the righteous intervener bring into play for the Nyy'xai P pathway?
Whoa.
All right. The third ranked power of Z is the articulation and dynamics mover power for the Nyy'xai. So when anything is required for take charge interaction with people or with the outside environment, it will cause the Z to boot up, and with it the righteous intervener spirit form. With Ni and Z, the righteous intervener cross-contextualizes with strategic appraisal and asks insightful probing questions. With the Zhai and Z, the Nyy'xai righteous intervener has a highly evolved and humanistic code of ethics. The righteous intervener brings logical effectiveness and systemic functionality to whatever the Nyy'xai finds most interesting and is moved by. The third rank power of Z is the articulation and dynamics mover power for the Nyy'xai. So whenever anything or anyone requires take charge, action, or communication, the Nyy'xai power of Z will boot up, and so will their righteous intervener. The Nyy'xai, with their use of Ni and Z, will ask cross-contextualizing, probing questions on the topic at hand that needs to be dealt with. With them having Zhai and Z, they will have, and Zhai over Z, the humanistic code of ethics will be a very high priority in their use of Z and their articulation and their take charge interaction.
Good.
I've still got I think I've still got one more.
Sure. Which one is that?
That's the last question.
Oh, we're just bringing it to play. Got it.
Coach was just ready to give that credit out.
I thought I actually covered the last statement, but I guess I misheard. My bad.
It's cool.
Yeah, I don't know how I answer it. I completely forgot.
Okay, we'll take a quick look then.
Yep. It seems to just be like a quick summary of the righteous intervener. I probably could have answered it actually if I had known that, but it's,
Yeah, I actually kind of basically.
sometimes I just forget like how I don't know.
Does Ben have to redo the entire thing then? Could he just answer that one specific question?
In this case, if it was something else, I would say yes, but this is kind of just like a sum up line, so which I think I kind of thought he'd already gotten it.
Yeah, I mean I just looked at it, so I'm not sure if that's. But yeah, I can just say it. The Nyy'xai righteous intervener brings systemic functionality and logical effectiveness to the different situations that it's dealing with.
Got it. And particularly what it finds was interesting, which is kind of like
yeah.
Hidden waves relating it to the Nyy'xai flow.
Yeah, Nyy'xai.
Yeah.
All right, Mitchell.
Alright, so in general, the Nyy'xai use their Z when they have to take charge interaction in the environment or with people, and that will cause the righteous intervener spirit form specifically to boot up, which is their version, their kind of character spirit form version of Z. The source Ni of the Nyy'xai relates to this because they use their Ni and Z together, and because the Ni has high priority, to do cross-contextualizing with strategic appraisal and then asking insightful probing questions. The tandem Zhai of the Nyy'xai relates to this because it gives the righteous intervener a very evolved humanistic code of ethics in its use. The righteous intervener brings into play the addition of logical effectiveness and systemic functionality to whether the Nyy'xai innately finds interesting or is moved by in some way.
Indeed. All right, Glenn, take us home.
All right. So the power of Z is the third rank power for the Nyy'xai, and generally it's used for articulation in a very cool way, as well as dynamics moving, also in a very cool and sort of like bracing kind of way. And whenever the Nyy'xai is using their righteous intervener, they're basically taking charge of any sort of situation or group of people and doing it in through heavily the use of their Z to just sort of like take control of that situation, steer the dynamics in whatever way it is that they feel as though it needs to be done. When it comes to the power of their knee and how that relates to it, they'll use their knee to cross-contextualize and ask insightful questions, but their Z is going to be heavily being used by being praising of the subject matter or the person that they're, probing, and just in general, it's going to be asking very probing and very direct sort of like questions that test the person that they're communicating with, or whatever it is kind of system that they're dealing with at that particular moment. When it comes to the Zhai and the Z, and when they're used together in a very strong manner, it causes the righteous intervener to take on a very high humanistic code of ethics and moral judgment character, which makes it so that they're very much in a very discernment heavy sort of mindset, and they're very much weighing the ethical and systemic considerations that need to be done. And it's because Zhai and Z are so opposite from one another, it can seem like they don't get along very well, but the Nyy'xai is really able to do it well and come to some kind of very highly sophisticated judgment when it comes to those two powers. And lastly, the Nyy'xai righteous intervener is a spirit form that the Nyy'xai uses strongly whenever, in general, just to for systemic effectiveness or systemic functionality and logical effectiveness, and they use it very strongly, and especially so whenever it's a subject matter that they find interesting and are also perhaps moved by as well.
That is the truth. Bam. All right. Next up, Mitchell, you'll take lead in this one. How does the righteous intervener relate to the use of force? What are 3 common ways that it manifests?
One of the key aspects of the Nyy'xai Righteous Intervener is the use of force to get things done that need getting done, which is a modulation activity for the Nyy'xai, but they can be very good at it when they need to, and the Righteous Intervener serves this purpose. The Nyy'xai use their Z to set boundaries in order to provide some healthy parameters on their natural approachability. They also use C to build necessary frameworks in the environment, such as scheduling, categorizing, ranking, and other general protocols, in order to steer things in a desired direction rather than go with the flow as Nyy'xai tend to do naturally. The Nyy'xai Righteous Intervener is imbued with an ambitious, competitive spirit to take what they believe into the top.
Yeah, I'm very active there.
Okay, so the righteous intervener relates to the use of force because that's essentially its job, basically, is to use force to get things done that need getting done. Even though that's modulation for Nyy'xai. One ways this happens is that they use their Z to give healthy parameters and set boundaries to their otherwise natural approachability, so that it's done more intentionally and appropriately, I guess. And another thing is they can build frameworks in their environments to get things to go in a direction they want them to go, such as schedulizing, categorizing, and ranking. Instead of their more momentum, hands-off approach to handling things. And then, lastly, the righteous intervener has a competitive spirit imbued in it, and it makes the Nyy'xai ambitiously strive to bring what they believe in to the top, whatever ranking system that it's involved in, I guess.
Boom. Win. Good. Good needs to win. All right, Glenn, you're up.
Go for the win.
All right, so the righteous intervener relates to the use of force, given that the Nyy'xai will use their righteous intervener in order to get things done that needs getting done, even though the act of using their Z is modulation for them and is not naturally the native way of being. But whenever they do need to use that kind of force, they will boot up their Z righteous intervener in order to get access to that sort of spirit form in order to get that kind of a job done. Three ways in which the Nyy'xai will use their Z for force is that they're able to set boundaries on their natural approachability. So, like, for example, if somebody is, bothering the Nyy'xai can sort of like be very, very naturally approachable and attract all kinds of attention, but there needs to be sort of like an understanding in the environment that, not to attract certain kinds of attention that the Nyy'xai doesn't want to attract, so they can use their Z in order to place certain kinds of mechanisms in the environment in order to protect themselves from that, and use their Z in order to, make sure that those things are enforced. Another aspect of them using their Z for force is their ability to scheduleize, categorize, rank anything that they need to in their environment, so that they're able to push things in a certain direction, which is very much opposite of their more natural kind of carefree way of just kind of going with the flow. They're very much able to use those powers in order to give themselves a kind of structure and to a lesser degree a bit of direction as well. Although that's, I think, more associated with their worldview power. And lastly, they're able to use their Z in order to be very competitive, trying to strive to achieve very, very high scores in a certain kind of thing that they find very personally interesting and moving. They can really turn on their Z in order to just become like super student heavy, like focused, on that, and just take whatever that is to the top, and just excel like crazy boss style.
Indeed. Good is good, but good's even better when it wins. Ben, you're up.
All right. Set boundaries, frameworks. One of the key aspects of the Nyy'xai Righteous Intervener is the use of force to get things done that need getting done. This is, of course, modulation for the Nyy'xai, but they are also very gifted at doing this where necessary, and it's important for their peak pathway that they're able to do this. Uh, one way in which this happens is through boundary setting in the environments. The Nyy'xai may need to set certain Z standards that other people uh, follow when it comes to interacting with them, and when it comes to the different bubbles they're in, and so forth, to make things work as they should. Also, the Nyy'xai will program certain frameworks in the environment, such as through ranking, scheduling, and so forth, in order to make their lives easier and other people's lives easier, and make things very organized and structured so everything fits together correctly and is flowing well. Another way that the Nyy'xai use their righteous intervener is through competitive spirit. The Nyy'xai, is very much so going to want to take to win at what they do and what other people do, and that can really help bring humanity further, because when the Nyy'xai righteous intervener is there, people win more, which is good. So, yep.
Alrighty. Do next one up. Let's see here. Glenn, you'll take lead.
Right.
How does the righteous intervener relate to proper ethics? How does this relate to advocacy? And how does this relate to the concept of equality?
All right, so the Nyy'xai righteous intervener understands that proper ethics emphasizes that right action is the one that provides the most good or does the least harm, or the action which produces the greatest balance of good over harm. This ethics-focused use of Z is often seen in advocacy, taking the necessary procedural steps to implement ingenious ideas and humanitarian intentions. As a part of this, the Nyy'xai righteous intervener is keenly attuned to the state of equality in any environment and is therefore most active and potent in the service of idealistic and virtuous causes.
Um, I have a quick question. When it says greatest balance of good over harm, I'm guessing that's referring to basically maximizing the ratio of good over harm.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. So with the righteous intervener, this relates to their ethics because the righteous intervener understands that right action is the one that provides the most good or the least harm or is the greatest balance of good over harm being done. This relates to advocacy because whenever it comes to any sort of activism kind of thing that the Nyy'xai finds moving enough, they'll take the necessary steps procedurally in order to make sure that those kinds of ingenious ideas are brought forth into the limelight and they're pushed into the world correctly, given that they are intelligent and they're also you know ethically sound judgment ideas that should be and ought to be brought into the world, given that they're just overall better. And so the Z righteous intervener is very strongly attuned to that and will try to make for that to happen and push strongly for it to be done in the world. This relates to their concept to the concept of equality because the righteous intervener is very keenly aware of equality and is always looking to try and maximize equality as much as they can in any sort of environment that they find themselves in. And this is very much related to how they will have or push towards any sort of idealistic goal that they think it ought to be pushed towards, and just try to make sure that that those kind of virtuous ideas are being done correctly in any sort of environment. Yeah, it's equality is just something that I think Nyy'xai are very strongly into.
Indeed. But when it comes to applying how it will be meted out, the Z
Yeah,
kind of comes into play. Indeed.
yeah.
Ben, you're up next.
All right. Alright, the Nyy'xai Righteous Intervener understands that the right action comes from doing the greatest good with the least harm possible. So basically, the best ratio of good to harm. In this often relates to advocacy, where the Nyy'xai will be advocate for procedural changes to perhaps a system with humanitarian goals in mind, and that relate very personally to them. Also, the Nyy'xai will favor strongly the concept of equality and supporting fairness when it comes to systems and when it comes to any form of righteous action that they take with their righteous intervener.
Okay. That works. And Mitchell, your last one.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I think we keep pressing on. We'll get the last two here. It's good.
I think we can. Yeah.
It's a bit meaty.
It's meaty.
Righteous intervener relates to proper ethics because, the way it relates to improper ethics is that it has the concept of right action associated with it, which is that essentially doing most good and the least harm with an action and producing the greatest balance of good over harm on whole. This relates to advocacy because advocacy is an area in which Nyy'xai often find themselves using their skills very well suited to this right action and taking the necessary procedural steps to implement their ingenious ideas that they have, but specifically with humanitarian intentions. And this relates to the concept of equality because the righteous intervener is naturally attuned to the state of equality and fairness in any environment, and it's for this reason very potent in serving causes that are idealistic and virtuous.
Ding. All right, we're back to you, Ben. Stay strong, team. I think we got this.
Yep.
We got this. We can finish off these last two.
What are 4 ways the righteous intervener uses Z with a heavy Nyy'xai influence?
I like when the logic of the questioning is very simple.
Yeah, I know. You gotta love that.
Yeah.
It's like, just give me 3 things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't have to do with it all. Just any 3.
Well, today I had beef chicken soup, and then yesterday I had this really good conversation with my dog, you see, and then
And
Your dog a Nyy'xai? I mean,
shade of orange.
your dog might be a Nyy'xai. So.
maybe my dog
And
is
then-
Nyy'xai, I don't know.
Then the last one is I have a calculator that I use to do some things. You know, just like random. It's like, what does that
And
do?
that relates to Z, I guess. I don't know.
All right.
Anyway.
That was a good tension breaker. Now let's crush this.
Alright. The Nyy'xai Righteous Intervener, being heavily influenced by Nyy'xai, is highly adept at surfing institutions and organizations for things that can be gathered to help the Nyy'xai or those they empathize with. For the same reason, they are often drawn to improve systems they encounter on their travels to still be potent but not unfair, inhuman, or cause needless impingement to quality of life. There is also a strong association with progressive medicine, psychology, and metaphysical healing, both professionally and as a layperson. Yet another aspect of this is the use of invention and other outside-of-the-box technical solutions to solve complex human problems. Oh, and I noticed there's not a period at the end of that sentence.
Oh, let me get that. Right.
I do that too. I don't include a period at the end of my last sentence when I'm writing emails because I just don't see the point. But
Yeah, it's something that people do only when like they're doing professional writing, I guess.
I
Yeah.
guess we should make this professional.
Well, this is professional. This is the ebook. You can't be like
Yeah.
using like
Also on the Z or Vi paragraph, that'd be like extra bad.
yeah.
yeah. It's like you just talk like internet, like WTF, like like all these kinds of things. Internet.
It's cool because like I don't know, those are like both informal, but like they're also like efficient a lot of time. Like say WTF. I don't know.
Yes,
Oh yeah, it
I
is
know a lot of people get a
efficient.
lot of crap for saying that, but it's abbreviations are nice.
Yeah, but Vi, I might not approve.
Yeah, standards of excellence, right?
Not about Z, but Vi. Classic.
Ben, you're up, right?
Yeah, I am. The Nyy'xai Righteous Intervener, being heavily influenced by Ni and Jai, is highly adept at surfing organizations and institutions for stuff that may be helpful to themselves and to others. Uh, they're also they are also very good at uh, helping improving systems that they come across in their travels, so that they're very effective, but they're also very humane to the people that are involved with them and aren't unfair in any way. The Nyy'xai Righteous Intervener is also very good and well suited for. Nyy'xai are also very good and well suited for the support of progressive medicine, psychology, and metaphysical healing to help people in more spiritual ways, and using systemic practices. The Nyy'xai are also very inventive and very good at finding and programming more out-of-the-box techniques to help a person with things that they're struggling with, or things that would put them on a better path, or themselves for that matter.
Got it. Nice. Mitchell, you're up.
Right. Okay, so one way that the Righteous Intervener uses Z with heavy Ni and Jai influence is the fact that it's particularly adept at surfing institutions and organizations for things that would help the Nyy'xai or people that the Nyy'xai empathize with. People or anything that they emphasize with, I guess. They're also drawn to improve the quality of systems that they encounter in their travels, so that they're powerful still, but in the way that they're meant to be, but not unfair or inhuman or causing quality of life impingement. Another one is that there's often an association with progressive medicine, psychology, and healing, I think. Both as a layperson and also even professionally. And then last but not least, there's the fact that they can use. There's a lot of inventive power to the way that they use their Z with the Ni and Jai influence and outside the box solutions to solve human problems that have a technical edge to them.
Indeed. Because even technical solutions, you have to kind of understand the complexity of what's going on with humans. And Jai kind of lets their get around it, and then Z goes boom, boom, boom. Figures it out. All right, Glenn, take us home with this one.
All right. So with the Nyy'xai Righteous Intervener, the Nyy'xai will use that in order to surf institutions and organizations to gather all kinds of information that will be of great benefit to either themselves or anyone that they might find that they empathize with, or a combination of both. As a result of this, they'll surf into systems and institutions, and they'll look into those kinds of systems that they are that they'll want to try to improve the potency and their ability to do what they do correctly. But at the same time, they'll be wary, or not wary, but they'll be kind of like making sure that the system is not becoming inhumane or inefficient or in a or unfair, or and just creating any sort of impingement on quality of life where it doesn't need to be. Another aspect of the Righteous Intervener, how it will use Nyy'xai, is Nyy'xai will become very, very interested in medicine, psychology, as well as metaphysical healing in general, and their interest in those areas can be either professionally or as just a layman, but that's a result of them using the Righteous Intervener, with Nyy'xai heavily being influenced in that. And then lastly, when it comes to the areas of invention or any sort of like complex, problem solving with a technical edge to it, the Nyy'xai Righteous Intervener is very good at doing that, and especially when there's complex human dynamic situational considerations that need to be taken into account for, and to just basically have that covered so that they're able to address that and solve those issues in the most ingenious yet also ethical way that they can.
Rare combination and an awesome one. All right, last one. Got this. Mitchell, you'll take lead. Dun, 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 dun. There it is. How does the Righteous Intervener relate to Nyy'xai playing the role of super student? What are two ways it often comes out when in a group setting? How does the Righteous Intervener work with the Nyy'xai ability to be natural companions to many different kinds of people?
Okay, the nature of the Righteous Intervener easily plays the role of super student when they need to gain functional understanding of something they are keen on. When doing so in groups, Nyy'xai often like to test themselves and others for fun to see where one really stands on a universal empirical scale. The Righteous Intervener lets the Nyy'xai push themselves and others to do hard things with a delightfully pushy, supportive attitude and a bouncy, bracing sense of humor. Nyy'xai are natural companions, but when they use the Righteous Intervener, they are action-adventure companions extraordinaire.
Yeah, we're not in Vi yet. I was kind of confused about the super student.
What's that? What confused you?
Nothing. I thought maybe we got into Vi for a sec, but we're not in Vi. We're still on Z. Yeah.
Well, we'll be getting there soon enough. Next week,
right after this one.
Vi.
Alright, the Righteous Intervener in that particular mode, when Nyy'xai are in that mode, they naturally take on the role of super student when they need to attain some kind of functional understanding of something that they're intent on. One way this comes out in a group setting is that they can playfully test, they like to sometimes playfully test themselves and others to see where they stand on a universal empirical scale. Another way that it comes out is they can have this tendency to push other people to do difficult things, but with a kind of delightful bouncing attitude. which can make it appealing in a way that it maybe otherwise would to someone else try to push someone to do something like that. And then lastly, we have the way that the Nyy'xai works with being companion is that, well, Nyy'xai are natural companions in general, but in particular, the Righteous Intervener tends to make it like an action-adventure sort of companion. So that's the kind of mode of being a companion that it's suited for.
Indeed.
Action adventure companions extraordinaire.
Nice. All right, Glenn, you're up.
All right. Okay, so when it comes to the Righteous Intervener, they have a very easy time playing the role of the super student, given whenever they have to take any sort of like a functional understanding of something in general, and they'll boot up their Righteous Intervener in order to help with that. Two ways in which they'll use their Righteous Intervener in a super student mode when it comes to group settings is that they will often challenge themselves and other people by asking interesting, hard questions that put people out of their comfort zone and really engage them. The Righteous Intervener is also very good when it comes to putting challenges out there for people to deal with that also challenge themselves as well. And just getting an empirical understanding of where they are and where other people are in universal terms, and also just kind of like challenging people, but in a fun-loving way, which is very engaging, very supportive. It's very much it's very pushy, but it's supportive at the same time. The Nyy'xai can also use a sense of humor in order to make it more fun. But it's very much with the given that everyone here is trying to become better in some capacity, and so that obviously is going to be a little bit stressful. But it's not like they have like a whip and they're like trying to beat the lessons into you. They're trying to do it in a fun-loving way with the caring, loving hands of their Jai, making sure that the other person's still being empathized with. But very much, the Z will bring in more of a disciplinary kind of quality, I guess you could say. And as far as being natural companions go, they are natural companions to all kinds of people, any kind of person. Becoming the, super student, what is it? What I just said it. Super student extraordinaire. Yeah, I forgot what that last line was, but yeah, I think
Action
adventure. Yeah.
Extraordinaire.
Cool. Let's bring it home.
All right. The Nyy'xai Righteous Intervener easily plays the role of super student when they need to gain a thorough understanding of something that they are keen on. This often comes in the form of testing themselves on others on topics to see where one stands on a universal empirical scale, and also through the form of playfully pushing, kind of being playfully and delightfully pushy, to sort of move in a direction, but not in a bad way, in kind of a teasing way, with a bouncy, bracing sense of humor. Nyy'xai make great companions in general, but when they are in super student mode, they are action adventure companions extraordinaire.
Indeed. Righteous Intervener mode, but I know what you meant. Got it.
Oh, right, just yeah, yeah.
Yep. They're very closely related.
Yep.
Okay. But the super student, just for clarification, is actually one of the facets of the Righteous Intervener.
Yep.
They also
That,
have
that makes
bad-
sense. Yeah.
They also have bad person ass whooping mode too, and a bunch of others.
Yeah.
All right. We got it. We got it with good time. Okay. Do you guys have any questions before we call it for tonight?
Trying to think.
Nothing on the
I don't think
topics
so.
that we covered.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything
I'll stop the
you think we
broadcast and say
can-
goodbye to the world. We need to stay on for just a second here. Bye,
Okay.
world.